Hi guys, please subscribe to my channel by clicking on the subscription button and the notification bell. Once upon a time, I used to believe in a certain version of Kanye West, the man who condemned then President George W. Bush for not caring enough about black people during Hurricane Katrina, or the straight black man willing to speak out against homophobia in hip-hop, but no longer. His narcissism, his self-loathing and his politics have been on full display long enough for me to know that I don't need to attend Sunday service or subject myself to a Jesus is King listening session. West's latest shtick is clearly nothing more than him showing us a black Pat Robertson in a dumb red hat with a beat machine, with pretensions of being gospel star Kirk Franklin. Franklin, notably, recently earned headlines after boycotting the Christian Music Dove Awards, the Trinity Broadcasting Network and the Gospel Music Association, until tangible plans are put in place to protect and champion diversity, after part of his acceptance speech addressing police brutality was edited out of the broadcast. This Kanye would never. So I'll wait for Franklin's record instead of giving Jesus is King any streams. My Jesus knew slavery wasn't a choice, but helping false prophets profit off of his name is. Much like Trump, whom he has described as a brother, who shares his dragon energy, West reimagines Christianity in a way that leaves more than a few Christians scratching their heads. During his appearance on The Late Late Show, for instance, West bestowed the Lord with high praise for doing more for him than his accountant apparently ever could. God is using me as a human being. As humbly as I can put it, he's using me to show off, he explained. Last year, I made $115 million and still ended up $35 million in debt. This year, I looked up and I just got $68 million returned to me on my tax returns. West went on to say, and people say, oh, don't talk about these numbers. No, people need to hear someone that's been put into debt by the system talk about these kind of numbers now that they're in service to Christ. Kanye West is not the first person to espouse a version of prosperity gospel, which is more or less Christianity for hypercapitalists and folks who aspire to be rich. To think that God's great reward on earth is providing wealth to the highly favored is a dubious notion to me, but perhaps I've yet to reach the right tax bracket to be eligible for divine intervention. What's more clearly repugnant, however, is how this supposed born-again Christian has continued to antagonize and berate his own people. First, after wearing a MAGA hat and claiming Trump was God's practical joke on all liberals, when asked about his ongoing support of Mr. 2 Corinthians this week, West said the black people who take issue with his conservative stances are stuck on the idea of victimization mentality, and claimed we were brainwashed. He also said that Democrats are making us abort our children. I did manage to both chuckle and sigh at this anecdote from West from the same appearance, when I was sitting at the Met Balls, when I was sitting in front of white people and they thought, I wouldn't thought you'd like Trump because of the racism, so, you mean to tell me I make every decision based off my color? West added, I'd rather deal with somebody who call me a N-word to my face than a person that signed me to a lifetime deal with a 255-page contract. I'd rather know what I'm dealing with. What he is dealing with, by the way, is someone who wouldn't rent to black people, called for the execution of innocent black men, has flippantly spoken of black people and communities with utter disdain, and gained political legitimacy only after trying to strip the nation's first black president of his. It harked back to the days when West duly complained about racism in the fashion industry while aligning with racists in fashion.